fellow who pays tribute to Carole. You heard the article read this morning by Bree. How many in the room here know about Chris Smith of the Press Democrat?
Yeah.
Not very many, but Chris wrote that article, and he also wrote about the same time an article of 40 of the people we lost in 2023, including Carole.
That's right.
Great article. Chris is retired from the Press Democrat, but he keeps writing. And he writes a lot about people who passed because he knows a lot about them and he has research. Chris, would you stand up? Chris is the curly-haired, gray-haired guy over here.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, a real treasure for our community. Keep an eye out for Chris Smith and the Press Democrat.
Thank you.
Her and Carole were contemporaries in Marin County. Carole taught at Lower Creek School when I was a youngster back there. And just seeing her, working with her through 100 Black Men at Cook Middle School, using the kitchen, it was a real pleasure knowing her and watching both her careers go forward. So I just wanted to say, really appreciated her and the things that she did.
My name is John Wallace. I am the founder of Surviving the Odds Project. It is a music program down in Marin County that has been going for 7 years. It's a nonprofit. I came in contact with Carole through Jamie Scales over here, and a couple years back. And what I'll tell you is that I built a relationship with her, and she used to call me her son. And then I would come up here all the time, and I would always call her caregiver and say, "Hey, how's Judith? How's Carole doing?" And Judith would say, "Hey, she wants to see you," and it was really special. When I just want to say to the family, like the gift that you all have, and Carole was just like, for me, it was like my mom lives in Louisiana. It was like having my mom here with me. And when she told me about her daughter having a nonprofit helping so many youth, it made me think about myself. And then she said, "Yes, you're doing the same exact work as my daughter." And here I am as a music teacher in a high school in Marin, where I built the very first ever live professional recording studio. And I'm doing the same work, Thank you. That goes nothing short of the miracle that the work that her daughter has done. And then come to find out that in the same school where I put this music studio, her daughter's program is also there. I had no idea, the Squires program. And here I was going into San Quentin State Prison. I actually am in the process right now of putting a music studio inside of San Quentin State Prison so kids can actually go inside of prison and write lyrics with their fathers. These are gifts. But what I'll say about Carole is I went to her when I was having a hard time, right? And you're looking at someone that served 8 years in San Quentin State Prison. My mom was severely beat by a cop in Marin County years back. And I took that pain and I got into the streets, got involved with drugs, got involved with gangs, and thought that was the life. But when I landed myself in San Quentin State Prison, I thought that was it, right? And I wrote over 75 songs while I was in that cell. I got out, got into recovery, and found a different life. And now I can give back to so many people. And I went to Carole and I said, "Hey, I'm a little bit afraid right now. I'm afraid of the success." And she goes, "What'll kill you is the fact that you lay there every night in your bed and you're wondering how many kids you could have helped that you didn't help." Right? And I went back to my sponsor and started talking about the gifts that Carole had given me, right? And he said, "A lot of people survive failure, but not many survive success." Right? And so when I went back to Carole, the next couple of days later, I went back to Carole and I was like, "Hey, I got another nonprofit that I'm ready to launch. And I want to run this by you real quick." And she asked me what the name of it was, and I was like, "Yeah, this is what it's called Project Hire Me." And she's like, what's it all about? And so we sat down in her house in the living room one day. I remember Judith was there with us, her caregiver, and we were sitting at the table having lunch. And when I started talking about this program, she just had tears roll down her face. And she said, that's it. And I sat there with Carole and I wrote out this program right at her right at her table in her kitchen. And getting ready to launch that in every prison in the world right now to give inmates a job before they come home from prison. Right? And so I just wanted to come here to show the family the love. I have hundreds of pictures of me and Carole and the miracles that have happened in my life in such a short period of time that I've been around her. And for her to call me her son, and every time I come over, her eyes would just light up, you know. And it was just the most amazing experience that I've ever had. And I just want to let you guys know that I love you guys. Max, it was really amazing meeting you. I sit on a lot of board of directors, and one of the biggest ones is I direct a law firm down in Marin County. And we get rid of criminal background records for people, so if there's anyone here who is suffering from old felonies and stuff, I get rid of that for you. So I just want to thank you guys again.
And I want to pay tribute to Carole Ellis in her role as trustee here at Santa Rosa Junior College. So first I'd like to welcome you to Santa Rosa Junior College because this was kind of Carole's homework from home at least several times a month. And I had the pleasure of working with her. I was the assistant. I was hired to be the assistant to the president of the college and the board of trustees. So I had the distinct pleasure of working with Carole and supporting her in just about a year, a little over a year. But I can tell you that it was an amazing year and it was an incredible relationship. And I feel fortunate to have had that as an assistant to the trustees. Going into a job like that, it can be kind of a little daunting. But Carole, as you can see in her photos, smile after smile, I mean, it was always there. So when my boss hired me, Dr. Robert Agrella, he said, one of the primary jobs I will have is care and feeding of the board. So I didn't know what that was. I asked him and he said, well, that's pretty much anything and everything to what they ask for and what their needs are, and just being there to support them. And while it may seem like a lot, and yes, it was at times, with someone like Carole, it was very, very easy. And she made it just, you know, she welcomed me. I felt at times as a very young kid, but when you have a person that's smiling at you and just really letting you know that it is okay for how you're doing, it just makes it really, really easy. And, but make no mistake, that smile that she had on the face, she made some tough decisions. And she made them always with the best intention for the students. It was about the students, and that's what she gave to the college. So I just want to let you know that it was a real deep pleasure to be able to have had that association with Carole. It's part of my memory that things like that sometimes last a lifetime. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Robert Grant, and a couple of years ago when I was in middle school, Miss Ellis, not Carole, Miss Ellis was my social studies teacher. She was somebody that, during that time in Marin, I could count on one hand the number of families that looked like me in the area. And she introduced me to Black History Month. She took a small group of my fellow students and I to an event that took place in Terre-Lynne, which is part of Santa Fe, for those who don't know. And that's something that has stuck in my mind all these years. So when I saw on Facebook that she had passed, that really touched me, and it's something that I will always remember about her. So that's all I want to say.
Hi, I'm Marcy. I'm Peter's niece. So Bree and Max and Jason, although we're cousins. And we've known Monka my whole life, you know, and she's Monka to me. She was just always another grandma. It was never like she had her family and we had our family. It was just a family. And Aldo, you're our cousin, right? Like, it was never like, oh, that's our cousin that's like our second side cousin and whatever. You're our cousin. And Mother makes that very easy and clear. And I didn't get to see her, you know, as much as I would have loved to see her, but anytime I did, which was mostly holidays these days, but she just, like everybody says, she sees you and her face just lights up, and she holds your hand, or she holds your arm, she brings you close, and you can just feel how happy she is to see you. And I mean, how do you do that to so many people? I don't know. It's amazing. So I just wanted to speak a little bit on behalf of our foster side. There's a lot of us, and as big as our family is, Monka, she's just Monka, and she was just the most loving, welcome person, one of the most welcoming people I know in my life. So I hope I could be just a little bit like that. So that's it. Bree, you've done a beautiful job today.
And here's Gayla Barron and all these big names. And lo and behold, not all that much longer, I was the oldest guy in the newsroom. Been there longer. But there was kind of, I guess it was sort of a relationship forged by tragedy, certainly something most unfortunate. And that was when the church burned there on Grand Avenue. The editor at the time was Art Volkerts. And Art Volkerts was an old-time conservative. Back in the day, there used to be something in Sonoma County called Republicans. And, no offense to anyone. But no, Art Volkerts was a conservative, old-time newspaper editor, and he was a friend of the Reverend James E. Coffey. I believe they were in it was a service club. They'll come to me. But anyway, when that church burned, Reverend Coffey said, my editor, Art Volker, said, the Press Democrat is going to help get that church rebuilt. And I was sent over, and I believe that was the first time that I met Reverend Coffey. And then I would say that I was very proud to become his friend, spent a lot of time with him, and I'm sure it's where I first was fortunate enough to meet Carole Ellis. And then, of course, I saw her in a number of different settings, obviously going back almost 40 years. And one story that came up the other day, you know, we were going to have the Martin Luther King birthday celebration tomorrow, and I covered that for many years, going back to the Luther Burbank Center and then Santa Rosa High School. And one year, I took my kid, and he was about this big. And in those days, you know, you walked in and there was that fireside room, and that's where the children were. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're doing all the kids stuff. So my wife didn't go. So I take the kid, and we go in, and I drop him off. And then there's the program, and then they parade all the kids in, right? And they're going to come up and onto the stage, and they're going to show what artwork they've created. They're going to sing a song. So I'm sitting there, and everybody's like, oh, where's my kid? Where's my kid? I'm looking, where's my kid? I really don't see my kid. And, you know, we've been there a while, and I'm starting thinking, wow, did my wife come and get the kid? Because maybe she thought it was bedtime. And he's not up there. And he's not up there. And he's not up there. And I know Carole was there that night. And I walked up to the stage and I told Reverend Coffey, I said, I can't find my kid. And he said, is Matt Smith here? And a lady raised her hand out in the audience. She said that my kid did not want to go on the stage, so I did not have to go home without the kid. Good. But Carole Ellis, in recent years, she did live downtown. And one thing that Carole and I definitely had in common was we like to go to restaurants. And I would run into Carole here and there, and it was a happy day. I remember walking down, and I can't remember, she was on one of those sidewalk cafes. She was outside on 4th Street, and to sit and talk to Carole, and like we all know that magnificent smile. And you know, I do hope that throughout this celebration, that I hope that anybody that read my tribute to her, you know, the thing is that we can all try to be a little more Carole Ellis. You know, we can all try to be a little more Carole Ellis. And I vow that I will try to do it.
Bree, where are you? I gotta apologize because I do know your grandmother. I knew her many moons ago. I see the younger pictures of her. She used to be over there talking to my mom all the time. Because I remember the little afro. I remember that lady. I was like, whoa, I know her. I remember her coming to the house talking to my mom. And I'm talking like 30, 40 years ago. That's a trip. And it's sad that I can't talk to her about that now. But I look at these pictures of her when she was younger, and I remember that afro. It's a trip. And Chris, he's talking about Gayla Barron. Well, Gayla Barron used to be my 6th grade room teacher because I went to school with her son Tony at Doyle Park. So it's every time it's a trip, man. To see them pictures. As soon as I saw those pictures, I was like, wait a minute, I know that lady. When she was younger. Well, snooze you lose. And I used to spend a lot of time with her at your house. I never got to talk about that. That's why you guys, you got to talk to people before it's too late, Make that connection, because you never know. But that's weird, man. I looked at those, I was like, wait a minute, I remember her. That's a trip. Thank you.
What an amazing celebration of life. Wow. Reverend Francis, you sent that word. You preached that word. You sent our sister off. Excellent. It was a celebration of life. You had the whole church standing up praising God. And it's easy to give a sermon for a child of God. They on their way home. But especially someone like Carole Ellis. Carole, she became a friend of mine. She loved eating good food. And she was a good eater. And I was trying to find this picture where she was at my family's house, my son's house. It was on a New Year's Day. And she had all her food sitting there with her. I just loaded her up. And she sat there and just enjoyed herself. And it was just so wonderful to see her just having a wonderful time with my family. It was really beautiful. And Don, who spoke earlier, he was there as well. Because Don and Carole were very good friends. They go to different events together, like when she had got inducted at the Sonoma State. Yeah, he was there with her, and I couldn't go because I wasn't well. But we would do a lot of things together with Carole. And then I stand here and I hear the different stories, the different relationships, the different stories, And it's like, oh my God, how amazing. And then Peter reminded me of something when I was over there getting something to drink. I sold Carole her last car. I sold cars for almost 25 years. So Carole wanted another car. So I went and picked her up in her older car. And I brought her to the dealership. And so she said, well, what if I don't get this car? I'm gonna get back home. I'm gonna take you back home. So then I'm getting all her numbers together and I said, Carol, you're not going to purchase a car. You're going to lease a car because you don't drive enough. And so I had Peter on the phone and everything. And I said, Peter, I think she just needs to lease a car because she doesn't drive enough to buy a car. And that was her last car. And Peter told me, he says, Julie, I still have that car. I said, how many miles on that car? He said, 80,000. I said, what year was that car? He said, 2015. I said, Peter, that's a brand new car. It's a Honda Accord. So it was a good car. So
She didn't have a license. She drove without a license for 5 years.
But she gave me a license when she bought that car.
I don't know.
But you know, I'm gonna tell you now. She probably didn't because you can buy a car. You just can't drive it off the lot. Somebody with a license has to drive it off the lot. So she probably did lease that car, right? But you can get the car. But you know, I'm honored to have the privilege to know Carol. And everybody knows, Carol just grabbed your hand so graciously because she want to hear what you have to say to her. So I appreciate it. I want to sing a song. So I want to sing this song. And this song I'm going to sing, this is the first song I ever learned in my life when I was a little girl of like 5, 6 years old. Because my grandparents, they drug us to church. And I'm glad they did. The name of the song is called Walk With Me, Lord. But it's going to be my version. We're going to have church some in here, okay? Okay. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. While I'm on this tedious journey. Whoa, Lord, I want Jesus. Please walk with me. Walk with my mother. Walk with me. Walk with my mother. Let God walk with me. While I'm on this tedious journey. Oh Lord, I want Jesus to walk with me. Woo! Thank you. Now, Chris, I have a story for you. I am the woman that you took a picture of at Pastor Coffey's services when we left, when we was at the cemetery. I was the person who was leaning up on his casket. I was getting flowers off his casket to give to Sister Coffey. Yes, so God bless us all. And let's keep spreading the love that Carol will want us to do towards each other. Let's keep spreading the love. And local barbecue sauce company here in Sonoma County. I just want all of us to know that there is so many people in this county who are about moving, doing things. So, you know, and it's because of people like Carole Ellis. We're on their shoulders because they brought all these things to this county, to this community. So the civil rights movement is still going on, and we are all responsible to teach them babies and the ones to come to love each other. It ain't about no color, it ain't about no creed, it ain't about how you talk or what you don't talk, it ain't about your possessions, it is not about how you look on the outside. Don't nobody care how big your house is. God don't care how deep and big you think your bank account is. All he cares about is how we treat each other. And it's about love. And it's about love. And to love the Lord, you love yourself, you love everybody else.
For Carole. We're all here for her. We're here for Diane. We're here for Bree. We're here for Maya. It's a long line of females that go back to antiquity and to eternity. And I just know that I'm grateful to be standing on not only Carole's shoulders, but many of you in here. And just so grateful. I don't even know what to say. I just feel like right now she's carrying all of us here to make her celebration an amazing one. I am happy. Dad, Harold Rogers, Dad, thank you. Thank you, Nancy, my stepmom, thank you, and all of us, my family, for cooking Carole's favorite foods. Her favorite foods. We're serving the food, and like, this is Carole's, you know. Carole's like, well, we eat this all the time. You know, so I'm just happy just to be a servant, and we all wear many hats. So, and we all have different jobs and different things, so we just got to keep going. And we have so many great people. We keep naming them. Vivian Coffey, James Coffey. Vivian Coffey said today, before she was going to read the thing from her organization, like pointing to, that used to be my office over there. I was like, yeah, that was your office, it still is. So I just want to say God bless us all. God bless the family. God bless, thank you for letting us celebrate your grandmother and all you guys. And I'm just like speechless. I just walk around with these. I get to read the poem later when we're finished working. So let's just give a big round of applause for Carole Ellis. We'll continue to do the best job. Thank you.
Like everybody has said before, it's just so nice to see a bunch of beautiful people hanging together. Really, really, really. For Carole Ellis, I joined the Martin Luther King Committee in '91, and I went to the first meeting, and I said I could volunteer to do the poster. So Reverend Coffey said, well, go see Carole Ellis. She was principal at Cook. And so I went there during the time when she was working there, during the day. I met her, introduced myself, and it was like everybody says, it's like she already knew me. and you know, that smile is real. And so as we were talking, I saw a picture of Martin with Martin Jr. behind her. I think it was a picture from one of the magazines. It was a frame behind her. And I was thinking about doing a poster, so I looked at that picture. I asked her if I could borrow it, and she just went and took it off the wall and gave it to me to use, which I did. Eventually, I became that first poster. That's when we were first at the Burbank Center. And yeah, so a long time ago. Some of us remember that. Anyway, so. Made a poster and then made t-shirts with that same image, and that came off of Carole's wall. The next thing, about 4 or 5 years ago, our theme for the Martin Luther King event was Get Up, Stand Up, which Ken and I said, yeah, it's Bob Marley's song, but it's appropriate, you know. And so I arranged to sing that song also with James Coffey's band, yeah. And so as we were performing that song, Carole came up and she danced to the music, yeah. And that's like a high point for me. It's like seeing Carole getting up there and dancing, get up, stand up. So anyway, I'll just leave with that. And I would say for all of us, this is a good time in this time in the world for all of us to get up and stand up. That was Carole's message, that was Martin's message, and love y'all. This is my brother Ken here. This is my brother Ken.
We go way back. I actually really was not going to say another word. No, really. No, and Carole knows. But Bree and Peter asked me to bless the space this morning to speak about Sister Carole. I felt so privileged and humbled to say something. I wasn't going to say anything. Hearing you all talk about Carole and everything, Brother Smith, Chris, all your amazing stories, and Jill was talking about get up, stand up, and Carole dancing and stuff. Like Carole had her hand on so many people, and Attila is responsible for probably 35 of the 40 posters or more for every event for Dr. King in this town. I salute you.
So y'all program night tomorrow night.
Yeah, program tomorrow night, 6:30 to 8. There you go. There you go. Montgomery High School, a new space for the event partnership with Montgomery. They're donating the space, which is the first for us to have a free event. Luther Burbank used to charge us like $3,500 a year. The reason we stopped being at the LBC was because the symphony moved us out. Okay? More money, whatever. But this is an event for Dr. King. Sonoma County should feel privileged and blessed to maybe donate their space for an event like this every year. Especially Montgomery's doing it. I really wasn't going to say anything, and I had Sister Carole Ellis was going to come up and say something here in a minute. She said she didn't want to say nothing else. New Bean Cafe blessed the space at the memorial today. Invited the ancestors to receive Carole home. O'Keefe played drums for him. Man, Sister Enid, Sister Sabria, Sister Carole Ellis took her home. Man, so Carole, it's just a year ago tomorrow. Go ahead. I love you. And Carole stood up at the Dr. King event and addressed everyone. Strong voice, gave her the mic. She talked about the legacy of that thing, that event, for that great man. We all have greatness in us. But Carole, y'all tell the stories of Carole leaving in peace. And it just inspires you, So, Riellis, come up here, please. Peter, Bree, family, Foster, all y'all connected family, extended family. We're all lucky to stand on the shoulders of Carole. So thank you for letting us all be a part. Attila, you started this. Thank you, Jenny.
This is quite an honor for me to just do the libations and to be present. Carole is a very special person for me. My favorite story is that she helped me find my youngest daughter in the mall. I was frantic. Did not want anybody to take my baby. And I'm like, oh my God, where is she? Where is she? And Carole came up to me. She was in the mall at the same time. She came up to me and she said, do you need some help? And I said, yes, my baby's gone. I don't know where she is. She was so gentle and so kind and calming. And before I knew it, she had found my daughter and seen it. And I'm just like, oh my God, thank you very much. And I hadn't seen her for a while, and I've been listening to the stories. She has this essence about it, her. She is like a spirit person, spirit angel, and physical, and in non-physical. She had that calming effect on me. And the last time that I saw her was at the Martin Luther King celebration last year. And her face just glowed. She was so happy. And such joy was over her face. And I was so happy for doing the libation. We were happy. So it's just a pleasure to hear your responses and your connection with her. And I have that connection also. So, and I had a connection with Diane, so in the same identical way. And now I'm having it with Bree, which is incredible. So I would like to bring up Sabria and Edith, and Ngami's not here, but Sabria and oh yes, so I'm going to bring up Okili. Okili has drummed with my family. We've known him for a while. This is Sabria, who is our first. What is actually Sabria Mohammed? Yes. And our real costume, sorry, kind of twisted around here. And Okili. He was the drummer. And this was our first time drumming with him. So when you're doing something together, we all synced in, and we were like, oh, how's this going to work? But then all, the Most High worked it all out. And so, we only wanted her to represent, but you know how that goes, right? But I did not know Carole intimately, but I loved her smile. And I think hearing everyone speak about that smile is what was like a diamond. She was like a diamond. When I first met her, she was welcoming like she knew me forever. And in any essence, she was beautiful. She was just a wonderful person.
My name is Okili, and I'm from Congo, Africa. But the only time I meet her personally, it was in the church. Kofi called me and said, Okili, do you want to play drum in my church? My first question was, what is the occasion? Is it for play for people? Is somebody pass away? Or we don't play drum just for fun? What is the occasion? And there was an occasion, I think, it was the anniversary of the church. I said, well, for that, I'll be there. There was a time I played that. And then the next, it was 2 years later, called me again, show up with Onion. So we both sit down, play. The next morning, I see my face on the play Democrat. Why don't play Democrat? I called him, I said, thank you, brother, for putting my face in play Democrat. I look at respect that. So, and also I want to say condolences to the family and my heart.
Hello everyone. It's an honor to be with all of you today. I have a question that I ask my students and I ask everyone, and it's titled a book I wrote a few years ago. And Carole Ellis had the answer to this. The question is, what kind of ancestor are you going to be? What kind of ancestor are you going to be? And we know what kind of ancestor Carole is going to be. She's an ancestor now, and we have celebrated her life, and we will continue to celebrate her life for years and years and years. Her stories will live on. They're planted in the seeds in our hearts. And all I have to say is thank you. Thank you for teaching us how to be good ancestors in the future. Ashe.
All the history. It's been so nice. And Julie, thank you for that beautiful song. My God. Girl. Thank you. Thank you. So, if everyone's done talking, there's more food. If you guys want to go for a second round, we're going to turn the music up, and hopefully people will be inspired to move around a little bit. And if not, I know it's been a long day, it's probably ready to go home, but thank you from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of my grandmother, on behalf of my dad, the Fosters, the Ellises, the Burrises, the Joneses, everybody. Thanks for coming. Maya actually decided she wants to read a poem.